the beginning, I felt quite sure that I'm gonna get 9.5.
Problem was they kind of cheated. Teacher like had the idea that others are doing well, I'm just lagging behind. And
After getting older gracefully, I realized this mistake.
IELTS is just a test. You don't have to worry about it.
Doing APs, and it's quite difficult to make me think differently, like saying that, well, I'm not gonna do APs, I'm not gonna do this.
I see your ambitions are really high.
Yeah.
Having this question every night, what is gonna be my score, what I'm gonna get, what I'm gonna do if I get something below 7.
Is that IELTS is not necessarily a competition between you and your friends. It's a competition between you and a person you could become.
Yeah, because in the beginning, everything is really hard.
Computer, you have keyboard, like magic keyboard. There you can just type fast and just delete anything you want, like anywhere, anytime. It's very, very convenient. One more thing about like doing CDI writing is that I type 140 words per minute.
You never lose. You merely fail to win.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and in today's video our guests are Mr. Said Muhammad, who got IELTS 7.5,
Hey.
and Mr. Amir Beg, who has recently got IELTS 8.5 and with writing aid, which is insane and rare in Uzbekistan, I think. And apart from that, these guys will be sharing their IELTS journey with us, and let's get started. Our first question is about your personal motivation, guys. What inspired you to take the IELTS exam, and how did you feel when you first decided to start this journey?
So everything began 2 years ago when I found out about colleges outside Uzbekistan, like colleges in the USA, and the only requirement was, apart from like SAT and other this extracurricular stuff, to have the IELTS score. And then I started to prepare for IELTS, and at the beginning I felt quite sure that I'm gonna get 9.5. But it turns out that IELTS is more than just about speaking. It is more than just about grammar. It's also about your dedication, right? Because it takes quite a lot of willpower to study, work, practice for quite a long time, doing the same thing for months. Yes.
I see your ambitions are really high.
Yeah.
I like it. What about you?
Basically, my brother started learning English. He got his IELTS. It was 6, unfortunately, but then he got into one university in Korea, which is in top unis among the world, so among other countries. So then I started learning English when I was in the first grade, if I'm not mistaken, and then I stopped. I took a break, and then I started again in 5th grade. I was studying a year in genius courses. Then I stopped for 2 years and then went to Edevive, which is where I found my teacher. So she told me some basics like grammar and so on and so on, some vocab. And then I went to Adastra. So everything was like kind of fine. I was having great time there. And then I decided to take my exam on August. I took it recently, and then yeah.
That's great, I think. And let's talk about your preparation strategy of during your IELTS journey. Can you talk about your preparation process and what resources did you use during that time?
I firstly used to translation several books, like if I cannot remember now, but it was about Dracula, one that I can remember, one that I can recall. So I just translated, and then I started learning grammar. When I finished it, I started doing writing task 2, and then I stopped. As I told you, I went to Adastra, and then I started all over again. I started grammar basics, and then I started doing speaking. So speaking was fun because you have to record ourselves, and we have to check our pronunciation, grammar mistakes, and try to not to make it again. So yeah.
I liked it. What about you?
So I followed the same strategy as he did, actually. I just signed up for the courses provided by Millennium and then Adastra. Well, yeah, I forgot to mention that my first attempt was 7.5 that I took on December 17th against CDI IDP. So I did whatever like he did at the beginning. It was just about translating like Dracula books, like he just said, like Dorothy,
Yeah.
Alice, all of these books. And then it became more advanced when we just started, doing issues, um, like resources, test bank. They're like of a higher level in terms of difficulty. Yeah. And then the next stage, the last stage, the ultimate stage was the practice. Yeah, we just wrote essays, had speaking sessions, and then did thousands of reading passages, right? And listening books, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see. That's great, guys. And let's talk about your challenges, which is I think really
Yeah.
interesting, and most of the viewers wanna like hear about it. What were some unexpected challenges you encountered while preparing for IELTS, and how did you overcome them?
Sure. I cannot necessarily remember the problem in terms of IELTS. Um, I think the problem was just me being stressed out about the IELTS,
Yeah.
because when I'm doing the IELTS passages, right, I'm not always succeeding. I'm not always getting like 100%, right? And one time when I just got 18 in the mock test, I felt real demotivated, and I just was about to quit. So how did I overcome it? I just did more practices to improve my reading, to improve my listening, and then my mock test just showed up. I was getting the top one, right? Apart from these challenges, I cannot necessarily remember other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the beginning everything is really hard, but
Once you
after
start it,
practicing,
Yeah.
it becomes really easy.
Yes.
yes.
What about you, Mr. Said Muhammad?
Probably I had the same challenges as he did. But the thing that was the problem during my preparation time was the school, because I had to go to school and at the same time study for the SAT and for the IELTS. Sorry, but actually I'm studying SAT.
Yeah.
So yeah, but not including minor challenges like time, laziness, and dedication and motivation and so on and so on. The problem was school, and actually I remember I had the motivation during studying in EdWife Learning Center. So once we had five students there. Four students were girls, females, but only me was a boy. The problem was they kind of cheated, and teacher like had the idea that others are doing well, I'm just lagging behind. At the same time, I had to do everything randomly, like choosing A, B, C, D, I don't know. And it was crazy because I didn't get any kind of results or something benefits. Then I started studying in Adastra, and the problem there was I was really nervous because every mock test, before the mock test, I was like really having bad times, like stressing out and so on and so on. But then I understood that IELTS is not about everything. IELTS is just a test. You don't have to worry about it. If you're lucky, you can get higher scores. If you're not, you can try one more time, and that's it.
And I see that your peers were cheating, but you did not.
Yes.
But overall, it means that you were better than them because their score was fake, but
Yeah, yes,
yours
yes.
was like real one, even
And-
if it was like really low, which I really liked.
Yes, during last month, I remember I was getting something higher than them. Once the teacher understood that they were cheating, she didn't allow them to do it once more, and that's why they did something like randomly. I did at the start, and they got something about 4.5, 5.5. At that time, I used to get 6.5.
I also know some people who were cheating and got 5, and after a lot of attempts, they got 6. But I think cheating is bad, guys. Don't
do
try it.
Don't do
Be honest.
It's not suggested.
Yes.
If you wanna lie to yourself, cheating is allowed. Yeah, the same was with me, guys, during my IELTS preparation. In the beginning, like when I started getting really low scores, I cheated 1 or 2 times, and then I got caught by my teacher. So after that, I stopped doing such things.
Yes.
Because at that time I was really like a child and I did not understand such kind of things. But After getting older gracefully, I realized this mistake. Guys, let's talk about your real IELTS test day experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you describe what did happen on your actual test day, and were you really nervous at that time? And could you specify about that? Guys, let's talk about your real test day
Yeah.
experience. Did you experience on the actual test day? How did you? Wait,
Sure, no problem, no problem.
It happens.
Did you describe your experience on okay. Guys, let's talk about your real IELTS test day experience.
Yeah, let's do it.
Could you describe what did happen on your actual test day, and were you really nervous at that time? And could you specify about that?
So, as I told you before, I've taken IELTS twice. The first was in December 17th, 2023, and the second one was like 2 months ago. So, in my first attempt, I was quite nervous because it was my first attempt, and if I fail it, my parents are gonna be quite sad about it because I've been studying. I had been studying for a year by the time I took my test, and my first thing was main test. I mean, reading, listening, and writing. I was just revising the vocabularies that I had and some of the templates for the writing. And I believe that my main test was quite of a mess up because in my listening, I got 8. Yeah, I was quite nervous for the first 5 minutes, and I've probably skipped 2 or 3 questions, meaning that I already couldn't get 8.5. Yes, and then I was quite nervous that my listening was bad, and the rest of the test is gonna be also bad. Yeah, and the same was true for the speaking. In the speaking, I had a very, let's say, rude examiner. Yeah, he was Kevin. He was the British guy, and he wasn't smiling at all. So I was quite disappointed, and I've messed up the speaking too in my first attempt. But for the second attempt, I knew that I'm gonna get something of like 8.5 or 8 at least. So I wasn't quite nervous. I just believed that my actual score is gonna be at least 8. So I was just bracing myself. So listening was great. I got 9, and the reading was also great. I got 8.5. And for the writing, I was already sure that my reading and listening scores are very amazing. So in my writing, I was in a very happy mood. For that reason, I just had writing stuff in my mind, nothing about like nervousness or anything like that. Yeah, sure.
You got 6.5, yeah?
No. In my second attempt, I got 8. In my first attempt, I was quite nervous, so I got 6.5. For the second attempt, I got 8. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It means that like positive attitude like really matters in such kind of situations.
Exactly. Yeah, it does matter a lot. Yes, and the same is true for speaking. In speaking, my speaking examiner was an amazing woman. She was a great examiner because she was, supporting my. Was considered to be a disappointing score. I was expecting like 8.
8 at least.
Yeah, at least 8, because I was quite confident. I used different high-level vocabulary. For that reason, I was expecting something like 8, but she put me 7.5, which is not bad actually.
Gross bar is really high, I guess.
Yes.
Interesting. What about you, Mr. Said Muhammad?
I had really crazy feelings during the test. So my main exam was the first one. It was 24th August. Listening was very easy, child's play. It was multiple choice and gap filling questions only. And during the test, I was feeling really relaxed. I didn't care about my listening because I was more than confident that I will get 9. And then comes the reading part. It was really shit, guys. It was really crazy because in the first passage, even though the first passage was easy, I failed in the second and third because when I started reading second passage in the first paragraph, and it was headings, and I didn't understand anything. It was really how abstract and so on and so on. It was like someone artist or Shakespeare wrote it. You cannot understand it. And then I just skipped the passage 2, and probably 20 minutes left for my passage 3. I somehow managed at the same time, when the time finished, I wrote the last question. And I was on time, hopefully. And I knew that at least it's gonna be 7 or 7.5. which that I ended up getting 7 in my reading, and then it was writing part. So for task 1 I got pie charts. It was I needed to use future future time, yes, future language.
Oh, that one, like it's predicted to be, it is projected
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be.
yeah. These ones, and then task 2. I didn't understand the topic when I read it for the first time. It was about something related to mixed type, so it wasn't something advantage and disadvantage outweighed. It was mixed type, so they asked for something for the topic that I didn't cover during my preparation time, and I wrote something. I got 6.5, so I'm waiting for my score breakdown. Probably something in my task is gonna be 7, and task 1 6.5, because I couldn't finish the task 1. And then on the next day it was speaking time, so I got British guy. He was some kind of reluctant to talk to me, because the atmosphere was like calm during it. Probably he was at home just relaxing and talking to people and asking some kind of questions. So for part 1 I talked well, so he asked about something related to my past, and then task 2 I got
The part 2, right?
yes, the part 2. So part 2 I some kind of got nervous, so it was about describe someone who encouraged you. And then part 3, in part 3 it was crazy. I went off topic. So he asked something related to competition. I talked about something collaboration, and he stopped me. He told me that I went off topic, and he moved to another question.
Excuse me, what about you?
As many people know, during my first time I got 6.5, and it was my first experience. At that time my level was like between 6.5 and 7, between B2 and C1. And during my test day I was feeling really nervous. It was my first time, and like at that time my test center was at Westminster and near the window. And what was the look from the window? Like I had a view of KFC, like grandpa.
It was in Tashkent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tashkent. I sit my test.
Two times
Tashkent.
we're in Tashkent.
Yeah.
BC or ADP?
It was with British Council.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think I was getting distracted by the grandpa from KFC.
So you had a great look to grandpa.
And unfortunately from listening part I screwed up it. I knew, because in part 1 especially I made like 3 or 4 mistakes there. And also this reading was the only thing which really made my day is my speaking part. Because from the first attempt I got overall 7.
Oh,
Because during the mock test I was getting 6.5.
the same.
Yeah.
The same.
And for the first time in my life I got 7. I also got shocked.
Excuse me, you said you did with British Council, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And you also said that you got with British Council.
Council.
British
And-
Council is
And I'm the
best.
only guy who did only
No,
with
listen.
IDP.
For the first time, you did BC anyway.
No, it was IDP.
Really?
I did IDP twice.
Oh my
I like
God.
IDP.
This guy,
and
ambassador of
please,
IDP.
please sponsor me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that IDP is much better because of the facilities provided.
Yes, probably they paid him to advertise IDP.
No. Just because he got IELTS 8.5, guys.
Thank you, IDP. Thank you.
Thank you, IDP. Yes, we are really happy with BC as well. Yes.
Yeah. Guys, let's move to the main part of our conversation.
Mhm.
And could you talk about specific tips about listening and how did you improve your listening? Because there are some people there,
Yeah.
and then, for example, maybe they were getting like 6.5 or 7, and they want to make it like a 9. What would you suggest to improve their score?
So first thing that I would advise is to listen, because it's about listening. And about listening, I mean not just listening anything, but listen what you really like. And I believe that everybody likes watching movies, right?
Yeah.
And if you watch a lot of movies, let's say 100 movies, you're gonna be reaching your like level of English by 100 movies, right? It's about 100 hours of speaking time, because you hear how the natives talk, you know their tricks, like you know that they skip some parts, they got some silent letters in some of the words, right? And you understand how to you basically not only improve your listening at the same time, but speaking too, right? Because
Yes,
you get
that's
some
true.
because you get some grammar, vocabulary
Yes.
from them.
Some phrases.
Yeah, and you also need to watch movies because you can understand in which parts they are stressing the words, right? I mean, if the sentence is about a sad story, right?
Yes.
If let's say a cat died, you're not gonna be like happy, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be something like this, like it's gonna be slow, and
Yes.
you're gonna be quiet, you're gonna be sad. But
Yeah.
if the situation is funny, if you're talking about a happy stuff,
Yeah.
then you will stress more, right? I mean the words, the letters. I mean, so apart from watching movies, I would advise doing a lot of listening practice tests
Yeah.
because the more you do, the more adapted you're gonna be to that basically format. And there's a difference between doing listening on paper and on computer. I personally did more practice tests on computer because I'm a CDI taker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna be different actually. I believe that there are like at least, no, there are a lot of people who are taking it with CD, right, with computer, and they should adapt to computer, to the mouse, to the keyboard,
Yes.
because you need to have the skill of keyboard coordination. Yeah. Apart from this, I don't quite see other advices,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
just watching a lot of movies,
Yeah.
just listening to podcasts,
Listening to
just
podcasts.
yeah. And one more thing,
Taking
uh,
notes.
yeah, speaking with your friends.
Yeah.
If you come to the course, like to your crime school,
Yeah.
the first thing that you should do is to
Create an English environment.
yeah, exactly. You should speak exclusively in English. For that reason, you are gonna, be exposed to different accents.
Yeah.
Like my friends were talking in Uzbek accents, like they had English. Some of
Yeah.
them had British one, right? And for that reason, you're gonna understand the way different people speak,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because in the IELTS, like listening part, right? People are gonna speak in different accents,
Yes.
not just American or British. It might be Indian, probably not that Indian, but anyway, the accents are gonna be different. Yeah, and yeah, the last thing is to do practice tests, listening practice tests with increased speed, like
Yes.
1.5. I personally did with 1.75 sometimes, and it did work out. but first you should start with the like 1.25, then 1.5, and then 1.75. In the what I noticed is that in the real test, the the speed it's quite speedy. It's quite quick. They speak quite fast. You can probably agree with me, right?
Yes.
They keep it. They speak faster than ordinary people in Uzbekistan.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
Yeah, that's all I have right now.
And one more thing I want to add during part 3, I love part 3
Mhm.
because two people are talking, and the thing that I would recommend for students who want to get 9 from listening is to like talking with them the same pace. I mean, like sometimes they can crack jokes during their speech, and you have to understand these jokes because sometimes these jokes would lead to your answer, to correct answers. So that's why be like kind of a guy who will want to talk with them as well, not gonna be left out and want to talk, crack jokes. I'm sometimes myself sometimes laugh when they crack jokes, and I remember some guys asked me why you're laughing. I said it was funny, guys. Why you're not laughing? Yes, just the listening.
And these tips really worked on these guys during their IELTS preparation. So maybe it may also work on you.
Yes.
Just try it. Why not?
Yeah, we got 9, so we can.
Yes. Give it a shot.
These guys can both visit.
Yeah.
But in my case, my listening is 8.5. Like it was 38 out of 40. If I made like 39, it would be 9. Yeah. It's really interesting. Let's talk about your speaking section.
So speaking, I always thought that my speaking is my strong suit. I thought that my speaking was great because my accent was good, and I was speaking naturally fast, and I thought that my grammar was good, my vocabulary was great, and basically it's gonna be for 8. But in my first attempt, I screwed up. I got 6.5, and I knew why. I had like reasons to get 6.5. I was very nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, in the real test, in my like interview, I was really nervous, and I was showing the like signs of me being nervous, of me being unprepared, and of me being afraid of the examiner. But in my second attempt, I showed that I'm very confident because I was speaking quite loudly. I was smiling. I was quite emotional, and I was very confident. So in the like breakdown of speaking, I got 888 and 17. So the fluency was 8, and I think that like being emotional, being natural,
Yeah.
right, being quite confident, can increase your score up to 8 or up to 9.
Up to 9.
If you are quite good at being confident, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Confidence matters.
Confidence quite matters.
Yes.
Confidence matters because if you're confident, you don't necessarily care about being fluent or no. You
Just talk.
yeah, you just talk. You just talk.
Just talk.
And it also means that my coherence and cohesion, as well as the vocabulary like sections, were also for 8, which is a high score.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad.
What about you, Mr. Said Muhammad?
So during the exam time, I got really nervous because in part 3 I went off topic and I started stressing out. And at that time, I knew my max score would be 6.5 because the examiner was kind of rude. He was like looking at me doing this kind of facial impression. Yes, and at that time I was like, this guy gonna put me 6. And that's it. But it turned out to be 7. I don't know what happened to him. Probably because my fluency was great, even though that I made some mistakes and I had some inaccuracies when it comes to my pronunciation and grammar and sometimes word choice. But I think my fluency was fine. And at that time, I was really feeling under the weather because of this speaking. I was really hoping that I will get 8 from my speaking, but it turned out to 7. But I'm still really happy. So yeah.
Really interesting. And let me also share about my how did I improve my speaking?
Yes.
Excuse me. Before that, so he said that he was nervous that he's gonna get like 6 during
Yes.
the test. So like one more tip, like don't care about the score, just speak.
Yeah.
Because if you think about different possibilities, yeah, you're gonna like mess up your score for
Listen,
100%.
probably because of this, I went off topic because I was thinking about my score and I was thinking about my pronunciation. At that time, I made several pronunciation mistakes before this question, and at that time, I was really thinking about it instead of thinking about the question and how to answer this question.
Oh,
That's why this advice is really worth to take.
Okay, sure. So what about your speaking experience? What did you do to improve your speaking?
In my case, I improved my speaking in a really unusual way because, back to my IELTS journey, at that time I was visiting some place in Old Town, which is located in Bukhara. And the reason behind it was I wanted to interact with some tourists who came from US, Australia, and UK, for example. And I think it really helped me to improve my speaking. Let's talk about your writing journey, and could you specify how did you improve your writing, Mr. Ulugbek?
Okay, sure. So look, as I told you before, I was doing CDI, so it's computer delivered, and in computer you have keyboard, like magic keyboard. There you can just type fast and just delete anything you want, like anywhere, anytime. It's very, very convenient. Don't the paper. I don't like it. CDI is much better, much more convenient, and it's gonna open doors to many opportunities. So one more thing about doing CDI writing is that I type 140 words per minute.
His BPM in Monkey website is 140 words per minute. It's really insane.
Yeah.
I personally tried it and I got barely 50 words per minute at my maximum. Can you imagine 140?
Okay.
It's really difficult thing.
So we are just gonna skip the first part because I got 6.5.
Yeah.
Let's just straightforwardly move to the second part, 8. So I wrote 530 words in my task sheet. 530 words in
One question: how did you comment like that?
it's gonna be visible. So we have the word count.
Yeah.
I wrote 530 words. 3 bodies, three main bodies, conclusion, and the introduction. In my task 1, I wrote 330, which was maps, Yeah, it was just maps.
Yes, yes.
But I believe that my task one wasn't that good because I got only 7.5. I got 8 on my coherence and I got 8 on my vocabulary part.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bro,
But
nine.
but in my task two I got 8.5. So 8 in task response,
Mhm.
9 in coherence, 9 in um 9 in vocabulary part, and 8 in grammar. Yeah. So that was how that was. So how I got like 9 on my coherence and cohesion is that I just specified each like paragraph, like each body,
Mhm.
to one specific point. For example, body one was about, so it was the discussion essay, and in my body one, I wrote everything exclusively for one part, for just one side of the argument. And for the second body, I wrote everything related to the second part of the argument. And in the third part, I gave my own opinion. That's how I did it. That's how I structured the essay. Yeah.
Great method.
For that reason, I had a lot of ways for creative approach. Yeah. I was necessarily using a lot of grammar structures, a lot of vocabulary, right? And one more interesting thing about my essay that I wrote is that every single paragraph is very connected. I had topic sentence, then I had like 3 to 4 sentences that were supporting one idea, and I had 2 ideas per paragraph. Like I had 6 ideas, yes. And before like starting my essay, you probably know that already, is that you should do planning, and planning is like of paramount importance.
Yes,
because
brainstorming.
Yeah, brainstorming. I spent like 4 minutes for brainstorming. I came up with 6 ideas for my essay, and something that helped me with my essay is that I knew the topic. It was about criminals, and I did criminals a day before.
Yeah.
It wasn't that it wasn't that question. It was nowhere near that question. It was a very different question, but the topic was about criminals, so I had a lot of vocabulary for that. I wrote essays on every single topic that I could find, like nature, criminal, the science, right? Social sciences, like every single topic that I could find.
So you
Fields.
had a general idea about
Yeah.
each kind of topic, yeah?
Yeah.
Also, one more thing that helped me would be SAT, because I got 1520 on the SAT. I had 2,000 words learned from SAT journey, and I had so many grammar structures. I was using the parentheses, I was using the semicolons, just colons, and I think that really made my essay beautiful and let's say more advanced. Yes.
By the way, like, was your grammar part 9 or 8?
My grammar part was 8, unfortunately.
But at least like 8 is not easy.
Also, so let me tell you about the structure of my essay, like generally. So in the introduction, I have the background sentence telling like the generally like the background sentence, like
Yes.
what the essay is gonna be about,
Yes.
right? Then I have the part in. So I wrote the discussion essay, and in discussion I just said, well, there are some guys who got this opinion, while the opposing party thinks this, and my opinion is this, like this. So I started on body one. I talked about the side that I am not favoring, the side that I disagree with, then the side I agree with, and then at the end my own different opinion. So in my different opinion, I just came up with a random opinion. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that the ideas doesn't matter. The ideas don't matter at all.
It's more about how you develop them.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
convincing.
yeah,
It should be very convincing.
Convincing.
As like one teacher said, like from industry, he always said the essay should be very convincing. So if I convince my reader, right, the guy who read it, the examiner, that well, putting every single criminal into the like prison is bad, then the essay is effective. It's effectively written, right?
Yes.
And everybody should do that. And you can convince in different ways, right?
Yes.
You can just say whatever you have in mind, and
Yes.
if it is convincing, you're gonna get a high score. I can guarantee that. At least 7. But for 8, you also need strong vocabulary and rich grammar,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And SAT 1520.
Yeah, that's like untold truth.
Yeah, great. Let's talk about the worst part of IELTS. In my case, what I don't know about your cases, reading part. How did you improve your reading?
So let me first talk about my reading. So I got reading section 8.5 twice in a row. I mean, in my first attempt and in my second attempt. And my SAT reading part is 730, which is higher than like 700, but anyways, it's not that impressive. So what I did, so what I can say, the important part of the like reading is, first of all, reading comprehension. You
Mhm.
already know what the reading comprehension is.
Yes.
Yes. And the second is the vocabulary. So if you don't know vocabulary, how are you gonna solve all these problems?
Yeah.
So for that reason, I learned like vocabulary every single day, every single day for my reading classes, and like extra for myself. Yeah.
Sure.
And by the way, did like vocabulary which you learned from SAT help you in your real reading part?
Oh, you mean IELTS reading, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say that it helped a lot in terms of understanding what each word means, because in IELTS, no, in SAT the words are, you know, they are transferred.
Yes.
No, they are, how to say, they are, so they got the suffixes, prefixes,
Yes.
right? And they change.
Yes.
For example, you know the word exact, right?
Yes.
You have the word exact, and the different word that comes out of this word is exaction,
Yeah.
because it means being precise, accuracy.
Yeah.
So if you do a lot of problems with this sort of vocabulary, you're gonna develop sort of spidey sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, for that.
You know, like in a reading IELTS, in IELTS reading, there are some vocabulary about science terms,
Yes.
other things. Have you met any of them?
So in reading,
Yeah.
no, not necessarily in my own reading passage, but in SAT, oh,
A lot of
every
them.
single passage was about that.
Yeah.
Yep, no. Actually, in SAT reading, it is required to have a very, very rich vocabulary,
Yes.
like at least thousands. Yes. So so first thing that I would advise is to read books. Yeah, someone says like, well, reading books is bad. Not bad, is ineffective.
Yeah.
But I would not necessarily say that reading books really help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really helps, because you're gonna develop the comprehension,
Yes.
because you're gonna read a lot of
Yes.
passages. You're gonna have the understanding of the like connection, like what's going on between these characters, how this character is being developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sort of stuff.
So yeah.
What about you? Like, you got 7 from reading, 30 out of 40 is meaning like.
Yes, I have several advices here. For those who start with 6.5, you have to just reach. I mean, like, you have to have a rich vocabulary, as he told,
Yeah.
and comprehension is the key part in reading. Because if you read, you do not understand the things that you just read. You cannot answer questions. That's why you have to have great amount of comprehension, so that while you're reading, you're gonna be kind of predict some kind of questions there already without looking at them. So, and I would recommend for those guys who are recently, I mean, like, who are having their exams on the corner, just kind of have background information. What I mean by background information, we have science passages, we have what else? Something related to
Social science,
social
politics,
criminals, and nature, and so on, environment. We have several topics, and you have to have a little background about them to understand those passages that you will get. And by having background information, you kind of connect these background information to the passage, and by that you will understand what passage is about. And so thus you will answer questions, and perfectly you will get higher than 7, probably 8, 9. Yeah.
Interesting. Guys, let's talk about your reflection on your growth after you got your IELTS, and how do you think preparing for the IELTS has changed you as a learner or as a person?
Okay, sure. So I've been studying IELTS for 2 years, including SAT, of course. And this has taught me dedication, like a
Yeah.
very, very strong dedication. Because doing IELTS for 2 years is very, very exhausting. Because Well, at the beginning, it was quite interesting because I was learning like new technique, how to solve this problem, how to solve headings, how to solve, let's say, the maps in writing,
Mm-hmm.
how to write essays. It was quite interesting, and I was getting um, like new information. I was expanding my
Horizons.
yeah, exactly. I was doing like a lot of passages, right? But after like entering the world of practice, it
Mm-hmm.
means that doing one thing, like let's say one routine, for example, doing
For several months.
for several months. Yeah, exactly. I did this practice for 3 months. I mean, this summer,
Yeah.
plus 3 months, like when I was studying back in 2023 for my first IELTS. Yeah. So overall, what I can say is that I have become quite dedicated, and it's very difficult to, um, you know, make me go off my track. But it's very difficult to now, like, make me go off my track. Like I'm doing IELTS. No, these days I'm doing APs. So I'm doing APs, and it's quite difficult to make me think differently. Like saying that, well, I'm not gonna do APs. I'm not gonna do this. Okay.
Like
Yes.
determination, yeah?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm quite determined.
Yeah.
That's what IELTS taught me.
Yeah.
So
What about you? Yeah, interesting.
So I was kind of motivated by my peers because we had kind of several competitions, and I remember some teachers of mine used to have this competition, movie night. In a last year, we had this deal. We made
Okay.
this deal for movie night. Those who will get something around 33 average, I mean group. So even though we got 2 movie nights, we didn't have any of them. I don't know why.
We got our own movie night, promise movie
Yeah,
night,
promise
and it
movie
was a great
But
one.
I don't mean it's not because of a promise or something like this. Probably because at that time we didn't have time because we were practicing and we had our exams on the corner coming up, and we had to do something instead of watching movies. And then probably the problem that now I mean like examiners, I mean like
Candidates, right?
candidates, yes, candidates are having, probably they don't know their level yet. In order to understand what is your level, you have to just do practices and you will get it. But sometimes it may be out of luck, or it may be because of student mistakes, but don't care. Your exam is going to be your real score and your deserved score. Don't worry, I had some worries before my exam. What is going to be my score? I was like having this question every night. What is going to be my score? What I'm going to get? What I'm going to do if I get something below 7 or something like this? Don't worry, everything will be fine. You just have to practice, and practice makes perfect, guys. That's it. Be positive.
And by the way, guys, what was your reactions to your IELTS score
Okay, sure.
after 13 days of waiting?
No, I did it CDI, so I
Yes.
waited for 3 days.
5 days.
Yes.
Actually, no, it's 3
3
days.
days.
In my first attempt, I waited for 3 days, and I was disappointed. Very disappointed, and I cried.
Really? You did?
Yeah, I did.
This guy cried for 7.5.
Because I had been preparing for a year,
Yeah,
and
hurts,
nothing
hurts.
except for 8 was satisfactory for me. But for the second score, in the second score, I was also very disappointed because I got 8, half a point short of 8.5.
Mhm.
But then I did appellation and I got 8.5.
Yeah.
So my writing was 8,
Yeah.
and I was shocked. I just opened the like website, and I was ready to say like to see like my appellation to be negative, but it turned out to be no.
Yeah.
My writing
Positive.
is 8.
This guy returned his money, but he got a positive appellation.
Yeah,
as
I
his-
got-
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did 2 million.
Yeah.
2 millions actually.
At least, like, he got some new feelings in his life. Like, he became really happy after receiving like 8, right?
I am.
He's more than happy.
Because 8.5 at the age of 15, I honestly never encountered that guy. Exactly.
What about you? How did you react to your 7.5?
So it was recently. I was having a bus trip to my school, so it was in the morning. Usually the results will come out in the morning. At that time, I was having a bus trip with my uncle and my cousin. So I was going to school. I just opened my message, and then I saw 7.5. I was actually expecting this, not high. I was not expecting 8 because those guys who got their test on 24th of August, they can relate, of course, because it was crazy. And there are some guys who said that it was the hardest and difficult one of the difficult exams on the earth on the 24th of August. And anyway, I'm really happy that I got 7.5 because some people like kind of started admiring me, respecting me because of my 7.5. I was waiting for this respect for 2 years, and I got this respect now, and I'm really happy about it.
Okay, yeah, and the last thing that I want to tell is that IELTS is not necessarily a competition between you and your friends. It's a competition between you and the person you could have become. If you got like 7.5, if you, for example, got 5, it doesn't necessarily mean that you could have never got like something higher than 5. It means that you just didn't do enough for
Yeah.
8.5 or for 9. And also, you never lose. You merely fail to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
This
quote
guy
that I-
got a quote.
And
yeah.
let's wrap it up our podcast
Yeah.
with one quote. A winner is a loser who tried again.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you
Bye.
guys. Peace.
When I just found out about universities outside of Uzbekistan, apart from this, can you please cut it?
Слушай, ты тогда выйди отсюда.
Не-не,
Что
да,
ты
вы-
там
Я хочу, чтобы
Все смешно, это ты как бомж выглядишь.
Почему он говорит, то, что я как бомж выгляжу?
Потому что серый кто надевает?
Хосетон они мечтана Хосетон рубашка мечтана
Поняли, да?
5,5 просмотров, все говорят, что я прекрасно говорю, поэтому мне все равно.
Все на тебя все равно, брат.
You cannot remember. Is it because you cannot remember, you don't want to remember, or you are not capable of remembering because your brain doesn't work? Okay, sure. Let's just wait for them to go.
Yes. Don't stop it.
Don't stop it. Have you certainly rented? Did you have some Pakistani guys with their accent? Hey, think about it. Hey, man, I'm making it interactive.
Ne? Ты когда ноги пострижешь?
Ноги?
Ногти отсюда.
Nechaj, tvaren odam peşiman ve biodagar,
Yes,
zemona
no.
dagar gat ibi çudaştas.
And Mr. Amirbek, who got IELTS 7. Нормально,
Эй,
все первый,
ребят, Telefonata gir boskun.
Слушай,
Telefonata gir boskun da.
Ha,
İstiyor.
слушай, читай.
Нормально.
Эй,
Нормально, посмейся, нормально, посмейся, всё. Всё, понятно. And let's talk about...